Okay, and we are live with today's edition of Social Trends on Air, a new program from Social Dealer, where we talk about automotive reputation, social media, big data, advertising, you name it, anything exciting in the automotive world. I'm Ryan Gerardi, your host, and today we have a lively discussion planned about Facebook advertising. And we're going to look at why dealers would and should be on Facebook and doing advertising. We'll take a quick look at how Facebook advertising works, talk about cost and ROI, and what you can expect on the dealer end and what your customers can expect as well. And to answer these questions, we have a terrific lineup of panelists. So I'll do a quick round of introductions, starting with Bill Garland, who's on my left. Bill from Social Dealer. Bill actually manages the bulk of our Facebook advertising here on the Social Dealer side. So welcome, Bill. Good to have you. Joe Castle, founder and CEO of Social Dealer, with us once again. I think this is your third on-air session with us, Joe?
Second or third, yes.
Second, third, okay. John McBride and Michael Sharkey from Polk have joined us as well. Great to have you here, gentlemen.
Thanks.
And Phil Penton, president of Social Dealer as well. Good to have you back, Phil. Well, let's get right to it, you guys. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about, and for the purpose of those viewing, thanks for everyone for tuning in. We do have a hashtag that I'll be monitoring in a moment. If you do hashtags on Twitter and Google, it's just Social Trends on Air, no spaces, and you can chime into the show and ask questions, offer feedback, challenge us. You know, put us to the test. Let us put our money where our mouth is. Well, let's just get started. So, Phil, why don't you take the lead on our first question and maybe set the stage for why car dealers should be on Facebook, and specifically why they should be doing advertising on Facebook.
Sure, yeah. So I'll break it down to three simple things. Most of them we've heard today. The first one, most importantly, there's 1 billion plus users on Facebook, so it's safe to say your customers are on there. Facebook, the second one is good content, bringing relevant, educational type of content that's going to help your consumers in the buying, purchase, or servicing their cars. A lot of value there. And then taking that content and what I'll say is amplifying it to your customers, being able to have that digital postcard, right? So if you're doing traditional sending postcards out, or you're doing service mailers in your local market, you should be taking that same marketing and putting it on Facebook and targeting. And it's an easy way to maximize your spend, really hit the right customers that are interested in your products and services. And I think it's a great value for your money. Again, 1 billion plus people there. Take that ad spend and put it there.
Joe, do you have anything to add to that? In regards to why about putting your money up on Facebook?
Yeah, I think that, like Phil had said, it's a very cost-effective way to target customers digitally, and have a further reach than any type of traditional media could offer you for the dollars and cents. And as you know, in the auto industry right now, profit margins are getting squeezed on both the new and the used car side because of the competitiveness of online marketing. And this gives you the ability to, have a further reach and not have to spend, that $5,000 or $7,000 or $10,000 a month on a billboard, whereas you could spend a fraction of that and reach a far greater audience than those type of mediums could provide to you.
And that's a good point. And also, you talk about the frequency of being able to reach those folks, right? So you think of email newsletter back, right? You email somebody 3 or 4 times a week, what are they going to do? They're going to tune you out. And so you look at Facebook, right? You have that an easy audience that you can reach out to multiple times, relevant. And again, it's that frequency is also really important, right? Changing that message, having it in front of them. And again, you're not going to email someone 5 times a week, right? They're just going to mark you as spam.
Is there any concern, Phil, in your experience with the, like you said, you can increase the frequency, but is there a point where there's too much for the consumer?
Oh, for sure there is, yeah. So we are car dealers at the end of the day. I think last time we talked, I said it's not the sexiest thing, right? And so we have to think about how often does a consumer want to see our message within their news feed. So there's a delicate balance there. But that's why, when you talk about Facebook ads, it's so important. Just because I post something, 6 weeks ago, I could put Facebook ad dollars behind that, and Facebook will continually show that message at the right time, right? And so it's not that you always have to post every single day. The Facebook ad dollars allows you to put that message, no matter how old it is, back in front of the consumer over and over again. And so that's an easy way to really make sure your message is being found without continually posting every single day.
Could you elaborate on the importance of showing up in the news feed, and where are people seeing this content compared to the dealer's page and the news feed?
Oh, that's great. So like we say, we see a lot of dealers spend a lot of time on making sure they have a great looking homepage, lots of pretty photos, and all of that's important, good cover photo. But the reality is most of your consumers are never making it to your Facebook page, right? They're seeing your content in the news feed, they're seeing your ads, like campaigns. So I'd say, majority, if not almost all your traffic is being digested in the news feed. And again, when somebody's looking at the news feed, they want to see their friends and family, and you want to slip your messages in there once in a while.
Yeah, I think that's pretty key. And then there's the mobile aspect too. Joe, I know that you on the dealer side, you probably see upwards to half of your customers accessing you through a mobile interface. Probably be fair to say.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's growing. That's the largest growing medium or communication channel that we have from all of our digital advertising.
So we're talking about why dealers might want to be there, but Bill, why don't I swing over to you and why don't you maybe define, what Facebook advertising is? What are some of the things that dealers need to think about, in regards to doing, who they're going to target, right? What kind of message you're going to offer? Can you walk us through that process?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, they have to decide who they want the ads to target. So you can target your existing customer base. You can go for new fans, or you can also speak to the current fans that you have on the page. Once you decide who you're going to target the ads to, then you have the opportunity to figure out what kind of message you're going to try to get across to them. So you have the option for a specific sale that's going on currently. You can send them offers, or if you just have general messages that you'd like to get out, you can use the sponsored stories and get those messages out to your fan base.
I'm going to just bring up my news feed while we talk, just to see what kind of content and advertising we get up there. And I apologize, Bill. Can you elaborate a little bit on what are some good types of messaging to put out there in your experience? What are the right kind of posts that are really working for people?
We like to do anything simple, from an oil change to any specials that are going on with the brand specific specials, or anything special that you have going on specifically at the dealership. And the cool part is that with the ads, we can configure them to either show up on the right-hand side, as you're seeing there with the Sprint or the Penske truck, or we can also set up a sponsored story to where it's going to present within the news feed. And the good part about that is that it's going to be present on the mobile devices.
I'm just scrolling through my news feed to see if I can find any sponsored stories.
Yeah.
Seems kind of light today. Okay, so are there certain posts maybe that you would discourage dealers from putting an ad spend behind?
Yeah, when you're doing the typical posting, the stuff that's just kind of entertaining content, there's no real purpose in putting ad dollars behind that stuff. But you're definitely going to want to put it behind the items, stuff that you would typically send out in an email or stuff that you would get into the newspaper. Facebook is a wonderful means to get that message out to a whole different fan base, and for the price that you pay for the ads, you get to a much greater audience per dollar.
Yeah, and I think it's so when you're talking about if you're not going to put digital ad spend behind it, like billboard, right? If you're not going to do something like that, you shouldn't put it on Facebook to put money behind it.
Right.
It should typically be with a purpose, and that's what we talk about premium content, right? Making sure it hits the mobile devices, making sure that it has meets a specific criteria or campaign that you're running. Those are the important things when it comes to those ads and that content. I know like campaigns are really important, making sure you're growing your audience. You should always be running one, but it may be Bill, right? Not just about the content, but also target. We see so many times dealers are putting out a like campaign or sponsoring a story, and they're doing it across the entire United States. Reality is, you know, an oil change special, if your dealership is located in Chicago, to advertise and put that in front of somebody in Texas isn't doing you any good. And so really make sure you look at where are you currently servicing your customers, maybe like, you know, oil changes, or where you sell your cars. Lock those zip codes in and make sure you amplify your content within those zip codes in your local market, right?
Mm-hmm. And I'd just like to say something to the dealers out there that when I first began on Facebook and then, you know, migrated my way into a more comprehensive Facebook ad strategy, that it's very important to understand as a dealer, you know, entering into this space that when you first begin and you put together, like Phil had said, your page and your cover photo and you get your page set up, you start doing some posting and you're seeing very little results without Facebook ad spend, that is the key. So, you know, if you are out there and you are trying social media and Facebook and you are, you know, you do have a page and you are putting posts out there and you're getting to a point of frustration with it, that is not the point of when you drop it and say this medium is not working. That's when you have to step back as a dealer and look and say, what am I doing wrong on this medium? And that's where I learned, and I started out and I was kind of frustrated and I wasn't getting that great of results until I had a more comprehensive Facebook ad strategy to really, like Phil said, market that content, put dollars behind it. And I'm not talking about a lot of dollars. I'm talking about a very affordable budget for a dealer that sells 50 new and used cars a month to a dealer that sells 500 new and used cars a month. And that's when I started seeing success in social media marketing. And then we have on the phone, you know, our Polk partners, and you know, they're going to get into even how much deeper they're taking this targeting. But you know, just as a keynote, you know, out there to the dealers that you know, you need to be able to you know, you need to market and you need to put dollars behind it, and you need to you know, if you're really going to be serious about getting results from this marketing medium.
And Bill, just to wrap up your piece, I mean, talk to us about budget. What is a good budget that you encourage dealers to shoot for? What are some of the things to consider as far as what the right budget is for them?
Yeah, well, that's the great part about Facebook ads. You can really kind of take it at your own pace. You're going to decide whether you want to spend a daily budget, or you can set up a campaign for a month or 2 months, however that may work. So it's up to you. What Facebook does is breaks it down to it's like a mathematical equation where per dollar you get in front of so many people. So the more dollars you put towards it, the more people you get in front of. But there's no spend that's too small or too big for that matter.
Could you give maybe some ballpark figures for our viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. What we're seeing as far as if you're looking for something that's going to be growing your fan base, we're typically seeing about fan per dollar growth. And if you're looking for exposure, it's typically about 50 cents or so, depending on the market, per 1,000 people to get your message out in front of them. So with that being said, we like to see about a $500, between $500 and $1,000 a month package has been popular lately.
And I think it's important to also note on that spend is how do you break that spend up, right? If you're only going to put $500 into it, don't get too crazy, don't spread it out. Really make sure you're putting enough dollars behind a campaign to maximize it. So if you're going to start with a $200, we suggest running one campaign or one like, right, Bill? I mean, we talk about this a lot. You spread it too thin, you don't see a bulk of movement, and what you really want to do is hammer one thing really well. $1,000 allows you to have a like campaign for maybe $250, and it allows you to put the rest of the money towards, well, I'll say your coupon specials and important posts about percentages and maybe like cash back, those types of things.
Exactly. Absolutely. You cover all bases with that. If you get a good spend going, it's really, I mean, you pay to play with it, and then you can gain your fans while you're getting your message out and sending out an offer all at the same time. We can break that up like that easily.
We've thrown out some terms, and I think we should maybe elaborate on what things are. So, you know, there's like campaigns, there's sponsored stories, there's custom audiences. You know, Bill, maybe could you draw a little contrast between what these things are?
Yeah, what we do with the like campaign is we're really looking to just get people that are you know, passionate about the brand, have experience with the dealership, and would like to continue the relationship And we do that with either a ad that would show up on the right-hand side or a sponsored story that would show up within the newsfeed. And with those, we can simply send something out that, say, for Chevy, for example, if look for Chevy fans, we put use a graphic that is designed to bring a Chevy fan to the page. And the other method we have is showing fans what their friends are doing. So if you were to like the page, for example, it would show me a message not liking the page saying, hey, your friend likes this page, I think they're good guys, and then that also will induce a like. As far as the targeting goes, we can target an existing fan base, so you can give us a email list, and we can put that into a custom audience and design that to go after those people specifically, lease returns, that kind of stuff. And then we can always hit just target areas too.
So I kind of break it down. Let's think of a like campaign, Ryan, like you're growing your email newsletter list, right? So back in the day. So as many people that join, like your page, that is an email list, and every time you post, you're essentially maybe equating sending an email, right? Back in the day, and getting a message out from. So likes builds that email list. Sponsored stories is, hey, I'm going to put money behind this post, whatever it is, to make sure we show it to an audience, mobile or in an ad space, right, Bill? And then custom audience, I like to say, give me your sales or service customers. Let's go with service. And this month, we have a service special, and I want to put a coupon in front of all my customers that have not been in my dealership to service their car in the last 6 months. So I break down my list, I get a custom audience, I put up a special, and I target those people. A custom audience is if you give me 5,000 people from your database, we can go to Facebook, we can say, hey, out of these 5,000, tell me how many of these people have an account on Facebook. Facebook sometimes comes back with a match rate as high as 70%. So we can then market directly to those 70% of those customers, right, with a direct message.
All right, good. So hopefully we got a pretty good concrete idea of, specifically what advertising is. I'm going to share my screen and bring up a recent case study that was done, Joe, on Castle Chevrolet. Maybe you could spend a little time talking about how do you measure your ROI specific to Facebook advertising, and maybe also how it compares to things like traditional media ad spends.
Absolutely. So the way that Phil had just mentioned, looking at building your Facebook audience is very similar to how you have to look at building your, you would build your email list. And if you think about it, a dealer that has, that sells, let's just say 1,000 cars a year, approximately 100 new and used cars a month, and they're building, they're selling 1,000 cars a year. It would take years, 5, 10, 15 years to build up 5, 10, 15,000 customers in your email list or your database to be able to retarget to for service or for sales or what have you. And with Facebook, if you look at it in that same manner, and you have the ability for like Bill had said, under 50 cents or under to acquire these fans and build these relationships with customers in your market, via your social channels, there's no other medium where you could build an audience that large for that type of dollar and then be able to market them in a short amount of time with Facebook ads. So when we did this case study with Facebook, we looked at, we took time, and it takes time. It took us approximately a year and a half to build up, I think, over 20,000 fans on our page. But these are not 20,000 fans across the country. We focused our campaign on building 20,000 fans in the Chicago metro area and who like GM products, in our case, Chevrolet and Buick GMC. And once we built that audience over time, we started to really see, we were attracting these customers, we'd like to call it. Then we took and we started working on converting these customers by putting out promotions, sponsored stories, that you see here. And with these ads and these offers that went out, we tracked them just like you would track any other type of advertising medium. And you could see there on the right there with that oil change special, 147 of those were claimed. If you go back to the top of the article, it was approximately let's see here. I think it was 20. There was about 20 some of those claimed within a couple week time frame from that ad. That ad cost approximately a few $100s to market to acquire those customers, and in turn, the ROs that we wrote in service off of that ad that came in, because we tracked it with the coupon code, was approximately $15,000. So the ROI for a couple $100 in ad spend to the customers that ended up coming in with that coupon, and then, you know, obviously we did more work to their vehicles for $15,000 in cash to the dealership. There was no other marketing that I could have had to have that type of reach and that type of fast effect. And that's a little bit about what that case study talks about there.
That's pretty solid, and I think it's a good segue, John and Mike, for you guys, for as far as expectations. Could you maybe start off, fill the audience in on how Polk is helping dealers leverage this medium, and some of the expectations that you would set for on the dealer side?
Yeah, I mean, I think from our perspective, we've been working with Facebook for 18 months or so, and we've been doing a lot of work with them at the Tier 1 level, so helping them sell advertising to the manufacturers and target those individuals out on Facebook that have buying and vehicle ownership attributes that are aligned with some of these campaign objectives. So recently what's happened is the targeting data that we have has been integrated down to the local level. So really, for the first time, from our perspective, dealers can take advantage of third-party targeting data in their local geographies. And so I think what that means is if a dealer is leveraging their CRM data for retention type activities, there's an option to purchase third-party data through Facebook and target conquest type of consumers. So if I'm a Hyundai dealer in Chicago and I've loaded up my CRM database and I'm marketing to those folks, I can try to find other Hyundai owners in those same geographies to market to. So I can do that from either from a new sale perspective. I can leverage the data from a service perspective. But basically, through these same means that have been spoken about already, I can access other targeting data and other prospects to get my message in front of in my local market. And so, we believe this is a bit of a game changer because there's really not another digital platform out there that enables dealers to do this today.
So you kind of alluded to it. Would you be able to just elaborate a little bit on that process of how do you, I know the technical term is appending,
Sure.
data appending.
Yep.
Can you talk about that process a little bit? Explain to our dealers how Polk works with the dealer list and Facebook to reach out to them, conquesting as an example.
Yeah, so so for years, Polk has provided traditional direct marketing lists to agencies and dealers at the Tier 3 level. And basically, we've integrated that data directly with the Facebook user population. So across the United States, we have approximately 90 million households matched directly with the Facebook user population. And so those model targeting data sets are aligned with those 90 million households and accessible at that dealer level. So these are models that identify the types of vehicles that are likely to be owned in the household. They are models that identify the likelihood of a household to be in market to purchase a new or used vehicle. There's data that indicates the size of budget that the household is likely to consider when purchasing that vehicle. So there's a lot of data tools that can be leveraged to, again, to identify a smaller set of targets, but targets that are much more likely to respond to the message on the platform.
Yeah, and just to allude to that too, as well as John said, I've been working in the direct space. So a client will come to me and say, I need X amount of names and addresses to mail to. Now what you're seeing is people coming to me saying, hey, I need a certain set of email addresses to match to the Facebook exchange to be able to go ahead and target those conquests that aren't on the dealer's file. And that's where you get that extended reach and that refined targeting to go after those individuals.
I think a good example there is, you know, Ryan, with our dealing with Michael, right? We have a list. We get a list of 10,000 customers, maybe from like a Castle. We send it over and we say, hey, we're looking for all the additional people in the marketplace outside of this 10,000 that Castle's already done business with. And Michael, you're getting us a list sometimes of 20, 30, 50,000 additional conquests, right? And then being able to match that up, like I said, depending on the market, we've seen match rates as high as 70% of those conquest customers have a Facebook account. And we found a match, and we're starting to advertise in addition to, you know, maybe like a Castle's 10,000 email addresses that we were able to find. So the data is just great, and it is phone number and email address is what we use to do those matches.
Now,
Yeah,
if that's as targeted as it gets out there, I don't know what is, you know what I mean? I mean, targeted to the point of conquest or previous in your market, right to their handheld, in their news feed where they're spending most of their time on Facebook. If that doesn't set off a light bulb in your head, then crazy.
Yeah, and a good point to go on too is that you've got in a pool, let's say you've got a pool of candidates in a certain population set of 300 or 400,000. After you put the targeting data on there to whittle that down to 10 to 15,000 of your best prospects, who is more likely to respond? But going back to John's point, that 350 to 400,000 pool or that 10 to 15,000 pool that you've really got to where you say, oh my gosh, this person really wants to purchase a Chevrolet or has buying behaviors that indicate they are in the GM family.
Yeah, and to Bill Garland's point, the amount of frequency, right? Because you're spending 50 cents per impression to whittle that down and still have an ad spend of $1,000. How much further it's going? Not further in the amount of people, but the times that we're showing that message to those customers that are more likely to engage. It all goes back to the beginning of the conversation, right? Down to that data, the amount of budget, and how often we can get in front of them.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm going to go off the script a little bit and just expand this some. And so I'm looking for a volunteer here. But you know, let's elaborate on the impact that you can have when you're running Facebook advertising, but you're kind of complementing that with something like an email campaign, some retargeting, right? And now it's all because that person took an action. Took an action to demonstrate either an interest or a behavior, and now they're seeing, this dealer or that dealer in multiple different spaces. Facebook's role in that, I think, is safe to say, is pretty significant.
Yeah, I mean, this is John at Polk. I mean, we meet with these Facebook folks all the time, and the average length of Facebook being up on someone's PC or mobile device in a 24-hour period, it's 5 to 6 hours. So, what other media is so open and visible to a consumer? And a consumer interacts with Facebook much more deeply than they do with other media, and so getting the message there in a non-obtrusive way there's really not a better platform to expose someone to it.
Absolutely. If you compare it to any of the other means, like a magazine or a billboard for that matter, that's it. That's the message, and you're done. There's nowhere for them to click through to. They can't, ask what your phone number is, your website, and all that kind of stuff. Go to your website, look for your inventory. There's no way in any other means do you have that extensive availability for information to your potential customers.
And I think it's important too when you talk about a list of taking a step back, traditional for Polk, right? So I buy a list, and I have all this direct mail, and I'm going to spend upwards of $1 to a couple, whatever type of piece you're sending out. we're spending $10,000, $15,000 and getting that piece out. Now I can say, hey, out of 10,000, I found 7,000 on Facebook. For less than $1,000, you could continually show that piece that gets dropped in the mail one time, right? One time we spent all that money. For a few extra dollars, you can continually put that same piece that you were a postcard, right? The drop in front of them on Facebook. I mean, it's just that impression base, right? You're keeping top of mind about what you're marketing, what you're trying to expose to your customers and prospects. It's powerful. Even on the old school traditional, right? We're turning that more into that digital.
So I think in summary, what we have is, Facebook is a truly viable, mass media advertising medium to be putting your message in front of with the sheer volume of people. Highly targeted, and even when you work with, like you guys over at Polk, you can even get more precision, do some conquesting, and get just extremely targeted. And it's still important to mix your Facebook advertising with all of your other, email, even direct mail, retargeting, whatnot. It's not about shifting everything towards, social media or Facebook advertising. It's about just adding it into the mix. And I think, as Joe pointed out, the ROI you can expect is there's nothing to compare it to right now, because it's dollar for dollar. It's a great place to put your money.
But it's also, too, just one note here, it's patience and long-term commitment. This is not an in and out, drop a mailer or jump on Facebook for a month or two. If it doesn't work, you're out. You're just hurting yourselves. It's a long-term commitment. If you're going to get in from now till the day that you sell your dealership, not from now till the end of the year, and see how it works. It does not work like that.
It's an asset of the dealership. It goes along with the dealership.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. You should charge more blue sky for your dealership if you're going to sell it, if you've got a good Facebook.
Absolutely.
Well, great. Well, guys, I say we call it a wrap. We like to keep it short and sweet. It's been a great dialogue here with each of you. So thanks again for taking the time to be here. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen one last time for our general audience. And folks, you should be on this on-air page right now watching the program. You can see to the right-hand side our links to Google, our Google Plus and Facebook. So every few weeks when we run a new episode, we do update those events. So if you RSVP on Google, it'll always be in your calendar. You can hit yes or maybe to keep it in your calendar. You're not obligated to attend just because you've marked yes. So I would just encourage you to go ahead and hit yes, and that way you're automatically notified. You can sign up via email to get email alerts. And, of course, you can sign up on Facebook. That'll show up on your calendar, too. For the next broadcast that we have, you'll see us advertise it here on our platform, on our website, and we'll always link to a blog post that explains what the topic's going to be. And then our recent broadcasts, there's links to those piling up here, and you can see that that's a mistake. We shouldn't have Phil up there twice, so I'll have to fix that. And if you're interested in being a guest, John and Michael, you guys, agreed to be up here, and it's been awesome having you. And for those out there that want to be part of one of our hangout discussions, please get in touch. You can click the box here and talk to us about being a guest on one of our upcoming shows. And we're going to continue to look to spice things up and be creative and innovative with all this. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Gentlemen, thanks again.
Thank you.
And have a great weekend, everybody.